Hello everybody and welcome back to Starmain rambling about D&D stuff again. And you better look forward to more of it for the future, cause the Artificer book is almost out. I think it's Eberron's Forge of the Artificer. So because that's coming out in for early access for those of us that have the Dungeon Master subscription tier on D&D Beyond, it comes out for early access on the 25th, and I wanted to make sure I was tip-top on shop. Yeah, sure, whatever. Can you tell that I'm just going off fucking whatever the hell comes to mind? Anyway, I wanted to make sure that I was caught up with current D&D news, in terms of player options and stuff. I do know there is the Laurelwind thing that came out that I might do a little mini video on that you might see before the 25th. We'll see. But big thing. There was some Unearthed Arcana that happened a while ago. For those of you that don't know, or I'm your first person you know getting into D&D content for, Unearthed Arcana is kind of like playtest material, like beta stuff. Like if this was a video game, this is would be like a patch server, you know, where we get to try out things that the designers are thinking about making and changing and whatnot early, and then give player feedback. So that's what Unearthed Arcana is, and they just had a little while ago. It's a little while ago now, but they just had an Unearthed Arcana for a bunch of updated subclasses that haven't been updated yet to the new 2024 rule set for 5th edition, and I wanted to talk about it like I have been doing. This is, I think I remember watching some videos on it, so this is not going to be completely fresh. I think I will, however, be doing whenever I make videos on the Artificer book, I will probably try to get those out as soon as possible. So, you know, people searching for that kind of material might find me. But that stuff might be initial first reactions and whatnot. But this, on top of them being subclasses that have already been in the game, they're just getting updated. I've also watched some videos on it to see the changes, and I looked at it when it came out. So, not to waste too much more time here, boop. We're over here on the Unearthed Arcana. I think I'm covering some of it. There you go. Now you should be able to read everything without my hair and my arms, without my beautiful hair covering everything. Anyway, the first one we got up, I'm jumping straight into it. The first one we got up is the Path of the Spiritual Guardian, which used to be called the Ancestral Guardian. Essentially, the flavor for this, as a barbarian subclass, so, you know, big rage guys, big tanky rage dudes, the flavor for this is you get so pissed off that you call forth your ancestor spirits to come help you. You're so fucking mad about whatever the hell's going on in combat, who doing stuff, that you call forth the spirits of your grandfather and his father's father and his father's father before that, and they come and help you while you're just raging about, angry as all hell. And yeah, it's good flavor. I mean, hey, who doesn't want to get so mad they call forth their dad back to life, call their daddy back? But they changed it to the Spiritual Guardian for some reason. I'm not sure what the big difference is between keeping it the Ancestral Guardian and the Spiritual Guardian, though maybe. Oh, okay. Maybe their intent, from what I can tell here, their intent is it's not, you can have the flavor for them not to just be your ancestors and stuff. You're calling for spirits to aid you, primal spirits to aid you while you're pissed off. So they could be your father, or they could be a bunch of, you know, animal spirits or other will-o-wisps and whatnot. Who knows? Whatever you want. Flavor is always free. Feel free to customize your character's thematics and what their shit looks like to your heart's content. But the first feature they get at 3rd level is called Spiritual Protectors, and it's whenever you rage, you get a bunch of spirits that come around you, and whenever you hit a creature with a weapon or an unarmed strike, it becomes the target of the spirits which cause one of the following effects of your choice: distract, protect, or strike. Distract is until the start of your next turn, the target has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you or another barbarian who has this feature. Protect is until the end of the next turn, the next time until the end of the target's next turn, the next time it hits a creature other than you with an attack roll, that creature has resistance to the damage dealt by the attack. And then strike. The target takes an extra 1d6 damage, which can be acid, cold, fire, force, lightning, or thunder damage. I mean, it's good stuff. It gives you plenty of options, and it just happens whenever you let's see. Can I let me read this. Your rage summons special warriors and when rage is active, when you hit a creature with a weapon or armored strike, it becomes the target of the spirits which cause one of the following effects of your choice. You know, I think it would intend that you can only do one of these a turn, right? I think that's the intention. However, that is not how it reads in terms of the rules, unless I'm missing something, which I could maybe. I'm not, like, you know, I'm skimming, I'm reading, I'm just trying to think. But it says just whenever you hit a creature with a weapon or armed strike, it becomes the target of the spirits which cause one of the following effects of your choice. I guess that which cause one of the following effects of your choice. I think the intention is that only one of these happens anytime you hit a creature, or only once on your turn. But because it doesn't really say that whenever you hit a creature, like, eventually barbarians get an extra attack at level 5. So, like, could you hit them with a distract and a protect, or a distract and a strike? Like, one attack, like your first attack, if it hits, you hit the distract, as you know, you're supposed to be gaining. You're a barbarian, you want them to hit you, not your allies. But then, if you hit on your second attack, can you also inflict protect as well? Where if they do, like, they have disadvantage on hitting anybody but you, and if they dare hit anybody but you, the person is taking less damage. So I'm unsure. That's kind of where my mind is going, is because of how it says which cause one of the following effects of your choice. But that's also whenever you hit a creature or with a weapon, or it becomes the target of the spirits. So I'm not sure. I feel like they would probably, if they're gonna print this, they probably should specify that, because like I said, barbarians can hit more than once on a turn. So can they potentially use distract, protect, and strike if you were like dual wielding or something as a barbarian? I don't know, but it is a good feature. The Ancestral Guardian / Spiritual Guardian was always kind of like a protective barbarian subclass. Like it not a lot of extra damage. I think it used to give people, it used to reduce the amount of damage things did by like 2d6 or something. I'm sure I could pull up the old Ancestral Guardian if I wanted to, which I might. And I can, because why not? Just one moment. Barbarian. Path of the Ancestral Guardian. Yeah, because the target warriors and hinders attacks. It used to just be. It used to just be the distract feature. So giving it some extra stuff is pretty cool. Giving it some extra options is nice. lets you do more things, lets you do more stuff. Though, yeah, it just lets you do more and have more character options. Let's look at the. Am I crazy? I'm also thinking of something else. Let's also look at the Zealot real quick, because you get a Dixis. You get worry. Yeah, you can heal yourself as a bonus action. You get regeneration. I'm sure I can deal with blah blah blah. Yeah. So it kind of has. I was hoping it wasn't just plain stronger than than the Zealot Barbarian, because it also, you have the option to do 1d6, which the Zealot Barbarian also does. But no, the Zealot Barbarian, I forgot the Zealot Barbarian also got some like regeneration type of ability too. So I mean, yeah, Spiritual Protectors is nice. Distract and Protect are pretty good. I'd imagine the real flavor, the Spiritual Guardian really lends itself to being kind of a protective barbarian. You're less worried about doing more damage yourself and more worried about like tanking, making sure that other people aren't taking as much damage. Though Protect does only affect creatures if making an attack roll, so it's not going to protect against any spells or effects like that, which is reasonable and fine. But yeah, no, that is a good feature. So let's move on to the next feature they get at level 6 is the Spirit Shield. Your guardian spirits can provide supernatural protection to those you defend. While your rage is active, when another creature you see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use a reaction. You can take a reaction to reduce the damage to determine the amount of damage reduced by. Roll number d6 is equal to your rage damage bonus and add them together. So at this level, I shouldn't have even bothered closing the other tab, to be honest with you. At this level, level 6, the Barbarian, what is it? It's roll rage damage bonus. So your rage damage bonus at level 6 is still +2. It eventually scale into a +4. So this is just going to be it does scale a little bit. But it's just 2d6 for the most part until when does it even become 3? It doesn't become 3 until another 3 levels at level 9. So, I mean, Spirit Shield is okay. Is this... let me pull up the old Barbarian 2. I should have just kept those tabs open. What a fool. What a fool I am. What a fool I am. The old feature used to be Spirit Shield. I mean, basically the same thing. And then when you reach certain levels, it's the feature is kind of unchanged. It's kind of unchanged now that I'm reading it again. It's just they made the scaling a little more easy, because it used to have its own scaling, and now it just scales on your rage damage bonus, which is probably just smoother. But I feel like I don't know how useful your reaction's gonna be to do this all the time. It is like if no creature is making you make opportunity attacks or anything like that, then your reaction is just gonna sit there unused. So constantly reducing people's damage around you, probably not the worst thing to do. I wish that it would add a number though, like 2d6 plus, like a number of d6 is equal to your rage damage bonus plus like your con mod or something like that. So they'll be a little more consistent. Because it's not that's my take. I think the voting and stuff has already well ended for this UA, because I am kind of late to the party. I just wanted to make sure I got it out there before, so I was fully caught up with all the new D&D stuff. But yeah, I don't got too much more thought on Spirit Shield other than that. That I wish it was 2d6 plus something. Your con mod or your strength mod, they would probably make it your constitution. Because you're gonna want strength anyway. Sorry, I'm stretching. Ah, God. I'm so unprofessional. I apologize. But yeah, onto the level 10 features, Consult Spirits. You gain the ability. God, can I English? Can I even English? You consult your ancestral spirits. When you do so, you cast the Augury or Clairvoyance spell without expending a spell slot or needing material components. Rather than creating a physical sensor, you can use the Clairvoyance. Invisibly summons one of your guardian spirits to the chosen location. Wisdom is your spellcasting ability for these spells. And you can only use either one of these short or long rest times a day. These are decent. What was the old thing? Consult the spirits, basically the same thing. Literally almost unchanged, pretty much. Augury and Clairvoyance are cool information gathering and scouting spells, especially Clairvoyance. That's not a terrible spell for your extra utility for your otherwise big hit people class to do. Not bad. It doesn't exactly help you in combat, really, but not every class feature needs to be super combat focused. Like that combat's only one part of the game. There's always like roleplay and environmental challenges and story and stuff and all that too. So although it might not be the best feature or any that be able to make you stronger at all in combat, but it's still interesting to have your abilities, and it really lends into the theme of you kind of focusing in being attuned to the spirits around you. Maybe you could make a character like this. It's like a what is it? A medium, like a spirit medium. Like they've been a spirit medium their whole life. They can see dead people, and whenever they need to fight the dead people, come and help them, and whatnot. That's what's coming to mind to me. But should I tell people what the Augury and Clairvoyance spell even are? Why not? So we can get a full sense of what you're getting here. Spells. Spells. I hope you guys can't hear my fucking cat. I love her, but she is a menace. Augury. I forgot that I am also horrible at spelling anything. So feel free to make fun of me in the comments. Augury is a second level divination spell. You've seen one omen. Of course, the action that plan to take within the next 30 minutes, the DM chooses an omen from the omen table. Is it particularly? It could getting an answer of wheel, and woe, and indifference are good. It really depends on your DM and how helpful they want to be. Cause like many spells like this, if depending on your DM, they could be honest and help you out. Or they can be honest here and think about it and give you a proper answer. Or if they're kind of a shit DM and just kind of don't want you seeing stuff or getting a clear answer. Not that they'll just pick indifferent either way. Or no, actually, it spells like this just depend on the DM. Because it is kind of in their ball house to give you an answer of some kind. Let's see. How do you spell that? Claire. Sorry, car. There is not a car spell yet. And Clairvoyance is a third level spell that gives you an invisible sensor within any area you've been to or seen before within a mile. behind a door, around a corner, in a grove of trees, blah blah blah. And you can choose hearing or seeing, and you can see the sensors if it were in that space. As a bonus action, you can switch between hearing and seeing. So like I said, they are both information gathering spells, which is normally not something a barbarian is particularly great at. Though nowadays they can rage and use strength instead of certain abilities for like stealth and stuff. So yeah. But on to the last feature, which is Vengeful Spirits. Whenever you make an attack roll with a melee weapon as part of the attack action and roll an 18 through 20 on the d20, you can make one additional attack roll with the same weapon as part of that action. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so again until the start of your next turn. What was the old thing? Vengeful Ancestors. Retaliate when your spirit shield reduces the amount of damage your attacker takes. Yeah, no, not great. Not great. How this getting an extra attack if you roll an 18, 19, or 20 plus your reckless attacking usually anyway. So you have a higher chance of rolling higher, of rolling or taking one of these higher rolls. However, getting an extra attack is by all means fantastic, because barbarians only get 2 attacks a turn unless you're dual wielding. However, I don't know what getting to make an extra attack has to do with the rest of the thematics of the subclass, which for the most part, like, you know, your spirits are distracting, protecting. Spirits are like hindering their ability to do damage. You're consulting your spirits to have them help you learn more information and whatnot. You're talking to the spirits of the dead and whatnot. And then suddenly your last capstone feature is you sometimes get to make an additional attack, which again, not sure what that's got to do with the thematics of being an ancestor, like a spirit calling primal warrior. Maybe if they worded it well, I think if like I said, the feedback is already done. Like, you can't participate in the surveys anymore. But I think what I would have put is as decent as this option is, right? Because again, you're going to be rolling with advantage a lot of the time, since you're going to be using reckless attack and whatnot, depending on if you want to use a brutal strike at this thing, because that cancels out your advantage. So I'm sure you will definitely be able to use this often-ish. I mean, it's just gonna happen whenever you make attacks, right? But I'm really feeling like it drops the ball on the rest of what the rest of the subclass is all about. I understand. Again, Vengeance of the Ancestors. It just retaliates the damage of your spirit shield, which is just like 4d6 as your capstone features. Sometimes, whenever you take that reaction, it was not great. Definitely not great or exciting to get. However, and so this is definitely better, but I just don't think it's great or not. I mean, it's fine. It's a fine ability, right? It's a fine. It just has nothing. It just doesn't read as have anything to do with the rest of the subclass. Like, you could put this on like, I don't know, any other, like a frenzy barbarian, the berserker barbarian, and that would make sense. And what does it have to do? It's called vengeful strikes. What are you venging? You know, it's not like, I don't know. That's kind of my thoughts on it. Not that it isn't solid. It's just that it doesn't read to me of having anything to do with the rest of the subclass, which in my mind is kind of like, I don't know. I feel like they could do something else. They could do something else. I would probably enjoy if my capstone feature like augmented my 3rd level feature, like, and gave me even more things for my spirits to do, or made distract, protect, and strike better. That would be something I would look forward to, is having this thing I'm gonna do every turn just be better now, instead of maybe sometimes getting an extra attack. But that's kind of it for the spiritual guardian, slash ancestral guardian. I still don't know, but yeah, it's an okay spell. It is okay. It is an okay spell. Vengeful spirits. Also, is vengeful spirits. It's not even. I don't know. Maybe it's your spirit sometime helping you with an attack, helping you make an attack. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's enough of it. On to Path of the Storm Herald, which is one of my favorite subclasses thematically. It is so fucking cool in your brain, right? It's so great, so awesome. You're getting so fucking mad as a barbarian. Shit starts lighting on fire. Shit starts freezing around you. You start crackling with lightning. It's fucking cool. It's a cool ass subclass thematic. It's amazing. It's cool. It's such a shame that it's so ass, that it's so bad. It was so not great, not good. And it made me, the first character I ever designed was like a blue dragonborn Storm Herald for the storm aura that I was constantly crackling with lightning. That was the first character I designed, not the first character I played, but it was the first character I made. I didn't end up going with them in that campaign, but I always will remember the Storm Herald as being the coolest goddamn thing possible, and it was always such a shame that it was basically the second worst barbarian subclass, only rivaled by the goddamn Battle Rager. Nobody remembers the Battle Rager. The Battle Rager is awful because the Battle Rager was a dwarf barbarian. It was a race-locked barbarian subclass that was just for a dwarf barbarian with spiked armor, running around and running into people and stabbing people, and its features were god-awful terrible. But whereas the Storm Heralds were not, Storm Heralds were bad, they just weren't quite Battle Rager bad. Moving on to the actual subclass, I love the thematics of this subclass, and I in fact actually did make a character, or have a character in my mind that uses the subclass in its old version. Even though I knew it was bad, I tried to think of a build to make it interesting for me to play. But anyway, on to actually talking about its new features. The first thing you get is the Storm Aura. Whenever you activate your range, you choose a desert, sea, or tundra. You can extend an aura for 10 feet, emanation originating from yourself for the duration of your rage. Your aura has an effect that activates when you enter a rage, and you can activate the effect again on each of your turns as a bonus action. Your aura's effect depends on the chosen environment, and if it requires a saving throw, it uses your con mod to calculate the DC. So I will also pull up the old Storm Herald. The reason it was so bad is that it just didn't do a lot of damage. It just compared to other barbarians, which makes sense. You suddenly have a barbarian that's like an AoE walking burst of shit happening around them all the time. But for the updated version, what in the playtest, Desert is when effective activated, you roll a number of d4s equal to your rage damage bonus and add them together. Each creature in the area aura must succeed a dexterity saving throw or take fire damage equal to the number rolled. You may choose one creature you can see within your aura to automatically succeed the saving throw. Being able to guard your allies against the feature is a nice little bit is a nice little bit thing for you to have. However, D4 is equal to your rage damage bonus is, I think, if they were to do that and it just not to have a saving throw like it used to, I feel like it would be okay. It would be, I would take it, I would deal with it, because you have to be careful with the Storm Herald because how strong you make the aura. I understand that this is going to be an automatic aura that happens every single bonus action. So you got to be careful to not make it stronger than other subclasses, because by all means, you very well could, if you went too far, probably make the Stormham Herald really, really powerful. You really could, by increasing the dice and stuff. You just gotta try to keep it in line with the other subclasses. However, I think we could do D6s here. I think we could do D6s and have a saving throw for half damage. Either give me D4s with no saving throw. Well, with no saving throw, they just automatically take 2d4 fire damage at the start whenever I use my bonus action, or give me D6s and give me a saving throw for half damage. That's my thoughts on it, because you gotta be careful with the aura to not make it just stronger than like the Berserker feature, which gives you extra d6s equal to your rage damage bonus on your attacks, on one of your attacks per turn, where this is like an AoE, could theoretically hit multiple people around you. But I think it would be balanced alongside with that if the desert feature was either if you're going to keep d4s, make it no saving throw, because it's honestly not going to be a lot of damage on average. Probably you could roll good and have everybody around you take 8 damage automatically, or you could roll bad and they take 2, a minimum of 2, max of 8, and then it scales with your rage damage, which it's okay. It is okay. I think it's not great. We don't like. I wish it was not just D4s, but yeah, I understand. We got to be careful how we balance it. We don't want to make it more like way stronger than the others. But I feel like this is a conservative take. So we can either remove the saving throw. We can either remove the saving throw and just have it happen, or we can give us a higher dice with the saving throw for half damage. So it's always doing something. It's never like doing nothing, right? But moving on to the C, when this effect is activated, roll number d6 is equal to your rage damage bonus, and then add them together. You can hurl a bolt of lightning at one creature you can see within your aura. The target must make a dex saving throw, taking lightning damage equal to the roll on the fail save. It's also very cool. It's basically the same thing. It's basically the same thing as the frenzy feature, except not the frenzy thing happens whenever you attack, right? But this is a bonus action every turn. I think that this wouldn't be. I think we could make this an attack roll, like a ranged, like Constitution based attack roll, and that would make it a lot better. And I think fairly decent as well if we could just take away the dex save, make it like a con-based attack roll, because your aura is based on your Constitution modifier, so let's just make it a con-based attack roll. It's great. The thematic of being so pissed off, lightning starts sparking around you at people, is pretty good. Pretty solid. And then the last one is Tundra. When this effect is activated, roll number d4s equal to rage damage bonus, and then them together. You can choose one other creature you can see within your aura to harry with icy spirits. The target must succeed on a saving throw, or it subtracts the number rolled from the next damage roll it makes before the start of your next turn. The Tundra thing was also always kind of like a more defensive feature. I think it used to give people temporary hit points instead. If you chose Tundra, I think it used to give people temporary hit points. In fact, I have the tab open. I can just look. Yeah, it used to give you a complete garbage amount of temporary hit points. Awful, terrible. And that's why the subclass was garbage. I think this is okay. No, actually, I think it's not great. I feel like we could definitely make this D6s, and it won't be too bad because it's only one creature, and it's only from one attack roll. Saving the restriction from the next It's only one damage roll. Creatures can have multiple attacks and stuff. It is a damage roll, which means it works on ranged attacks and spells and stuff like that, which is interesting. However, if we want to make the Tundra, we could make this a little better. But I honestly almost wish that the Tundra made the aura around you like difficult terrain for everybody but you. Like you just like started, and so it harried people's ability to move around, or maybe reduce people's speed around you. I feel like that would probably be more interesting than this. But that's just my brain. On to the next feature, which is Storm Soul, which gives you, this is, they really need to mess with this one. You get a benefits from restore aura, based on the last time you which storm aura you chose the last time you rage. These are all out of combat things. Gain resistance to fire damage, and as a magic action, you can light objects on fire that aren't being the touch flammable object that isn't being worn or carried by anybody, and light it on fire. You could, and then Seas, you gain resistance to lightning damage. You can breathe underwater and have a swim speed. Tundra, you gain resistance to cold damage, and as a magic action, you can touch water and turn it to ice. As we were saying with the storm, with the Spirit Guardian, it is okay to have features that aren't solely about combat. However, I think these need a little more sauce. Maybe need a little more sauce. Like, getting a resistance is fine, and then get another effect is okay. But it would be nice if it gave us a little more. I'm not sure what that would look like. I'm not a game designer, and these are just my ideas and my opinions. I'm not a game designer, so but I definitely always enjoyed the flavor of everything. Like I said, Storm Herald is probably my favorite subclass based on barbarian subclass based on like flavor alone, like what its theme is. It's fucking amazing, cool. I'm so mad. Lightning crackles, the air freezes, shit starts lighting on fire. It's really, really, really cool. I just wish it's so cool that I want it to be really good, and it just isn't. But the 10th level feature is Shielding Storm. You can use your mastery of the storm to protect others. Each creature of your choice within your storm aura has the damage resistance equal to the storm. Yeah. Is that the same? Yeah. It's just that, please, for the love of everything, give us more than this. This is fine, right? Giving everybody around you resistance to fire, lightning, or cold damage is okay. It is okay, or whatnot. I just wish that it was more. It gave us more than that, or something. I don't know. I just feel like it would be cool if there was more, because it's an okay feature to help buff your allies, but I want Storm Herald to be good so bad. I want to play a Storm Herald Barbarian so bad. It's just not a good subclass. Mechanically, it's very weak. It's not, not that like you can't play a weak subclass and be good. The Barbarian primarily is like a melee character anyway. Why couldn't I feel like Storm Soul would be good, would be just fine if it gave us another if it gave us like a D6 or something of fire, lightning, or cold damage every time we hit an attack. I feel like that would make it would be good. On top, because you get the mediocre-ish aura. Then at level 6 you get a solid damage boost, right? Like a not bad damage benefit. And then Shielding Storm, we could give a little more sauce. You know, still protect your allies. Still protect. Maybe if we're gonna go with Shielding Storm, maybe give us reactions or something to creatures within our aura, based on what aura we got, right? And you can make the reactions more defensive based somehow. Like maybe the fire one is if they attack somebody that's not you can attack them, or the thunder one is something else, and the ice one is reducing like something on the attack. I don't know, but if you gave us like a special reaction that we could use on top of, you know, giving everybody resistance to the aura we're currently in, and then give us a special reaction each time, I feel like that would be what it needs to keep this like same flavor of having this be like the defensive shielding feature for your party members. But anyway, to the next one, which is the level 14 Raging Storm feature. It just increases stuff about your previous auras. On Desert, once every turn when your creature fails its saving throw against your storm aura, you can cause it to start burning to take each a d4 fire damage at the start of each of its turns until your rage ends. Meh. And I understand setting people on fire, but D4 just really sucks at this level. It just is not good. And then C I think is interesting, which is basically the lightning you shot at somebody leaps to somebody else within 30 feet, which is pretty cool. And again, please just make an attack roll instead of a saving throw. It'd be really cool. Make me make 2 attack rolls here. Make me make 2 attack rolls. It leaps to the next turn, and I still have to make. My lightning still has to make an attack roll, and I don't think it'd be that broken to have it be more consistent, or like a bonus that you could increase. And then Tundra, once per turn when a creature fails the saving throw against your storm aura effect, you can cause it to take 2d4 cold damage and its speed is had. Blah blah blah. Yeah. I want Storm Herald to be. I hope what the feedback that they got was the subclass is too weak. Please give us more. I really do, because I so badly want to see the Storm Herald in a good version. I want to see it in even a mediocre. I will take a mediocre version, like an okay. Is it as good as Berserker? Probably not. Is it as good as Berserker or Totem Warrior? Probably not. But I would still just make it okay. Just please don't. Please, begging on my hands and knees. I don't want it. I just don't want it to be bad. I don't need it to be like amazing. Just please don't make it bad. I want to play Storm Herald so bad. I love the Storm Herald Barbarian. But that's enough of barbarians. On to the Cavalier fighter. Now, there's a bunch of stuff here about the Cavalier fighter. And I was having conversations about the Cavalier fighter a while ago. I really like the issue that we're gonna see here when I go over the Cavalier features is that the Cavalier really does not embody the flavor of somebody on a mount at all. Like in terms of its features, because it's a very defensive and like reactive based fighter subclass. It's like, you know, you'll see what I'm talking about, and maybe I should save this talk for after. You know what? I'll save this comment for after. The first thing you get is bonus proficiencies. You get 3 things actually. You get bonus proficiency, Born to the Saddle, and Unwavering Mark. Bonus proficiency. I can English, I promise. You gain the proficiency, goddamn, in either animal handling, history, insight, performance, or persuasion. Alternatively, you can learn one language of your choice. Fine, okay, good. I'll take extra skills in an extra language. I won't ever be mad about it. Born to the saddle, you have advantage on saving throws to make avoid falling off your mount. If you fall off your mount and descend no more than 10 feet, you can land on your feet. And if you don't have the as long as you don't have the incapacity condition. In addition, mounting or dismounting creature causes you 5 feet of movement rather than half your speed. So a little bit into the issue of why mounted combat is kind of a little scuffy in its form right now is that horses and other such creatures that you could theoretically mount are weak as all hell. And I'm not talking about like strength or making attacks or anything. They have so little HP that you're in any combat you get into, your mount is very likely to die. You're very, very, very likely to die. And so then you become just using the rest of these features, right? Without really the mount. And the mount here, the Born to the Saddle, is the only feature here that has anything to do with being mounted. For the Cavalier fighter, and they're supposed to excel at mounted combat and guard those in their charge, while often protecting the superiors and the weak. Cavaliers equally home, leading cavalry trials, or exchanging repartees at a state dinner. I don't know about that state dinner though. But their actual good mechanical features: unwavering mark, can menace your foes, foiling their attacks and punishing them for harming others. When you hit a creature with a melee weapon, you can mark the creature at the end of your until the end of your next turn. This effect ends early. If you have the incapacity condition, you die or somebody else marks the creature. While it's within 5 feet of you, the creature marked by you has disadvantage on attack rolls against creatures other than you. In addition, if a creature marked by you hits a creature other than you with an attack roll, you have advantage on the attack rolls against the marked creature until the end of your next turn. So, unwavering mark is a fine defensive feature, right? It is a fine defensive feature. It just throws disadvantage on whatever you hit, as long as they stay within 5 feet of you. Unless they're attacking you, they have disadvantage. And then if they do attack somebody other than you, then you have advantage on them for like your next turn. Unwavering mark is an okay feature. It is fine. It is fine. It is okay. All this compared together, bonus proficiency is Born to the Saddle, but might as well. But then we get unwavering mark, and unwavering mark is just okay. However, and again, a lot of this stuff is kind of defensive, because they're trying to overcome the core issue that the mounts are weak as all hell, right? They are going to die, and there's almost nothing you can do to prevent it, and that's why the best mounted characters have always been the ones that can make it function as it's meant to, as the thematic is the paladin, because they get the free Find Steed spell, or Phantom Steed and Find Steed, and they get access to stronger, more consistently resummonable mounts, and that's why the Cavalier, and I'll get onto it in a little while. But its 7th level feature is Warding Maneuver. You learn to fend off strike directed at you, your mount, or other creatures nearby. If a creature you can see within 5 feet of you is hit by an attack roll, you can roll a d8 as a reaction. If you're wielding a melee weapon or a shield, roll a die, then add the number rolled to the target's AC. Yawn attack. I'm sorry. Oh god. Reset your brain. We're good. Sorry, I'm a scatterbrain. Sometimes things get a little wacky in here. When you're wielding a melee weapon or a shield, roll a die. They get added to the target's AC against the trigger attack. If the attack still hits, the target has resistance against the attack's damage. You can use this feature equal times to your con mod, and then you gain them back on a long rest. Warding Maneuver is a solid, okay feature. Again, it's fine, but it's just because this fighter, this Cavalier, I'll get onto it in a minute, it has a lot of really defensive features against, preventing people from attacking your allies or making it harder to attack your allies. Or if they do attack your allies, you get bonuses against them and also have the chance to make the attack not even hit or give them reduced resistance, and if even it goes through, resistance to the damage. The Cavalier's features are okay. Right? We're just gonna keep going because I really just want to get all my thoughts out right now. Level 10 is Hold the Line. Creatures provoke opportunity attack from you when they move 5 feet or more within your reach. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, the speed becomes 0. It's basically you get a free sentinel effect. Level 15 is Ferocious Charger. During the first round of each combat, you and your mount speed decrease to 10 feet. Your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks for that round. When you move within 5 feet of a creature this round, the target must succeed a strength in the saving throw. Against this, you say we'll push 5 feet away from you and have it to prone condition, and only can make that save once per turn. And then the last feature is Vigilant Defender. In combat, when you get a special reaction, you can take once every creature's turn except your turn. You can take this reaction only to make an opportunity attack, and when you can't take it on the same turn, that you take your normal reaction. So, now that I've kind of sped through the features, Hold the Line, free sentinel effect, great. Ferocious Charger, interesting. It's the only thing other than Born to the Saddle that has anything to do with being, I think, what a Cavalier means. Cavalier means into people's minds. Vigilant Defender, another defensive feature. I mean, kind of more of an offensive feature that lets you consistently make more opportunity attacks. And then if you have Sentinel, even though you might not take Sentinel because you kind of have the main Sentinel effect, but unfortunately that doesn't work with this one because. Actually, it would probably. It would probably work today. So you probably wouldn't need the Sentinel feat. The biggest thing with the Cavalier fighter in my brain is look at this, right? When you think of a Cavalier, and maybe I'm just poisoned by like Total War Warhammer, right? I've seen a lot of cavalry stuff because I watch a lot of videos on Total War Warhammer because I like that game. And it's fun. It's a fun game. And you see this stuff. What does a Cavalier do? It charges at people. On a mount. It charges, runs around, disrupts formations, fucks with infantry, stuff like that. And then we get to the Cavalier fighter, and what do we do? What do we got? We have Warding Mark, a Wavering Mark, Warding Maneuver. We have Warding Maneuver. Unwavering Mark is whatever. We have Warding Maneuver. Hold the Line. And then Vigilant Defender. Tell me, my friends, does a Cavalier hold the line? No. It breaks. Cavaliers are meant to fucking hammer and anvil break lines. Break up formation and stuff. The main issue with the Cavalier fighter is that it has almost nothing to do. So many of its features with like Unwavering Mark, Warding Maneuver, Hold the Line, and Vigilant Defender are all defensive features because they know that horses are going. Your horse, if you don't have extra defense on your horse, it's going to die because they have so little HP. It's going to die, so they gave the Cavalier, instead of having a lot of more offensive features for moving and charging and whatnot, they gave it a lot of defensive features because they know that the horse is going to die, and they want you to be able to stop the horse from dying. But the issue is, then it becomes, it gets where we are now, where it has one feature, two features technically. You get Born to the Saddle, which is whatever, and you get Ferocious Charger. And this is the only thing that has anything to do with actually cavaliering around, riding on a mount, moving and striking and whatnot, and charging and shit. And everything else is a defensive feature meant to protect your friends, primarily punish people for attacking your mount and protect your mount from damage. Protect your mount somehow. But it just is, you got AoE effects, you got spells and stuff, you have ranged attacks. It's just that what they need to do here is they need to remove Born to the Saddle. Remove Born to the Saddle. You can keep bonus proficiency, I guess. And remove Ferocious Charger. And then you can make a new feature here. You could maybe give them, if you remove bonus proficiency in this, maybe give them another feature other than Unwavering Mark. Then we still have Warning Maneuver, Hold the Line, and Vigilant Defender. And then you give them a new feature here. And then we turn this very defensive, focused fighter into and just name it something that isn't the Cavalier. Name it the Defender, or something to reflect how defensive these features are, because these defensive features aren't bad for like a character. If you want it to be a fighter that defends its allies, it holds the line, defends its allies, it is a solid subclass for that. It's filling that thematic. It's fulfilling that thematic with how defensive all the features are. The issue is that it's on a Cavalier, and it has in cavalry. Maybe any history buffs that watch this video can correct me in the comments, and I'm maybe completely speaking out of my ass because my brain has been poisoned by watching people play Total War Warhammer. But you use cavalry to break a formation. The cavalry charge does a shit ton of damage, and you use it to break a formation and disrupt people. But a cavalry is not holding a line. It's not standing still somewhere protecting its allies on a horse. It's not. I mean, you can do that, I guess, but that's not what you think of when you think of a knight on horseback riding through the battlefield, using its weapon and chopping off people's heads, mowing down people in their shields to knock their asses over and whatnot. And it's just the Cavalier's features have nothing to do with being a Cavalier. And so we just need to rename the subclass, give it something else at level 3 along with Unwavering Mark, and then replace the 15th level feature with something else. Name this the Defender Fighter or something, or the Soldier Fighter. I don't know about that. The Shieldman or something. The Protector, the Defender, the Protector, something. Have that, and it'll be a fine, good fight. That'll be a completely good fighter subclass based around defending your allies and whatnot. I think that is a perfectly valid niche for you to want to play. To be this guy with a shield or a big weapon, and you're there to guard. You're the Guardian fighter or something. I don't know. And then we take Born to the Saddle, the bonus proficiency. We take Ferocious Charger, and we make an entire new subclass that's actually based around being mounted, running around at high speed, charging people. We have the Charger feat, just like this one kind of gives you a little bit of the Sentinel feat. Give us a little bit of the Charger feat here built into the subclass as well. And then if you really wanted to double down, you could also take the Charger feat and double down on it. And we make a subclass that's built around moving around at high speed, disrupting people that you hit, knocking people over, knocking people on their ass, knocking people around while you're moving at high speed, while you're moving around the battlefield quickly. And then we have a class that's like actually doing Cavalier stuff, right? You're disrupting combat by running around at high speed with increased movement speed and knocking people over and using the momentum you gain to make these big attacks. And that's what we need to embody the Cavalier. And then we get to the main crux of the problem of why they designed the Cavalier this way with so many defensive features, is because they know that like the strongest horse you can get is like maybe 20 something hit points. Maybe I could look that up right now, but I'm not. You get the point. It's that you have your mount is going to be so weak, have such a bad AC that it's going to get hit, it's going to take damage, and this thing can't do anything against spells, or like if somebody throws a fireball on top of you and your horse is just going to die. And then you have all these defensive features that you can still use without a mount, obviously. But that's the main issue you encounter when you're trying to build a subclass around being mounted. And I think the answer here is, on top of making a subclass built around extra movement speed and, using momentum and with how the distance you move and stuff to attack foes and disrupting people, knocking people around, but with the momentum you gain, is I think we need a pet subclass for the fighter. And I know there are some people that are like, because how the pet subclasses work, they're kind of inherently magical, so you can resummon them if they die, and that's not what people would want for the fighter thematically, because they don't want magic and something happens. But the issue is with the current game design is that a mounted character that isn't a paladin cannot work. It just doesn't function because mounts are so without homebrew of some kind. Because mounts have so little HP that if you take them into combat with anything strong, they're just gonna die. That is the issue. That is the problem. So how we can solve this is just giving the Cavalier a resummonable mount of some kind. You can, if making it magical is an issue, you can even word the feature the right way, where like your mount, if it takes too much damage, instead of dying, it's gonna dump your ass on the ground and run and preserve its life. Like that's its training. It is to preserve itself at all times, and it effectively disappears from combat. It immediately takes all its reaction to run off out of combat, and out of combat you need to spend your ritual, quote unquote, summoning it back, which like whistling it back or whatnot. You can do it. You can make steps to make a resummonable mount thing, which is kind of an inherently magical subclass. You can take steps to make it less magical and make it more grounded if that's what people are worried about. But I also point out that half of the goddamn fighter subclasses are fucking magical or have extra shit going on anyway. You got the Rune Knight, the Echo Knight, the Eldritch Knight. You got the freaking Psy Warrior, and freaking something else. I forgot. But yeah, no, the Rune Knight magical, Eldritch Knight magical, Psy Knight. I mean psionics, but like you're accessing a power that is beyond your pure martial capability. Unlike the Battle Master, unlike the Champion. Those like are pure martial ability. You're accessing some kind of a power beyond your martial capabilities. Oh, Arcane Archer. That's what I was thinking of. So is it really gonna be that bad if we have another one? I don't think so. Like half of the fighters are already magical or beyond the limits of pure martial ability anyway. Is that like maybe a design issue, because there's only so many ways that you can flavor non-magical martial prowess? Maybe, but I mean, creativity is endless. You can figure that out. So I think the core thing that I'm talking about, why I'm ranting about it, is that we need to change the name of the Cavalier, make it the Defender, remove the charging shit, remove this crap, and give it some extra stuff, give it a new feature, make this the Defender, and then we make a whole new fighter subclass from the ground up that's based around moving, using momentum to knock people around, disrupting foes, using your momentum to do extra damage, and give us a mount pet class template like the Beastmaster or the Battlesmith Artificer, or and etc. Give us some kind of template mount thing that we can resummon back and helps us move around at high speed. And then, but just be careful about how you design the features, so that they can be used without the mount, because sometimes you're inside and sometimes you're in a dungeon. But I'm gonna stop ranting about the Cavalier now. I think I've got all my thoughts out for you. On to the Warrior of the Intoxication, which used to be the Drunken Master Monk. So, I mean, this is, you know, the thematic of like, was it Rock Lee or something from Naruto? He gets drunk and suddenly gets very, very strong. And the first things we get is bonus proficiencies, which is you get performance skill if you don't already have it, and brewer supplies. And if you already have that, you get a different skill. And then we also have Drunken Technique. You can twist and turn as part of your Fury Blows. Whenever you use Fury Blows, your speed increases to 10 feet until the end of the current turn, and your movement during that time doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. This feature is okay. It really lends you to be a monk that's like swaying in and out of people's range, hard to pin down and whatnot. But so whenever you go up and attack somebody, you basically get flyby, right? They can't make opportunity attacks against you, so you go beat the shit out of somebody, step back, sway back a bit out of their attack range again, or having to make them move towards you. And as a monk, you're gonna have a lot of movement speed, so you can go in and beat the shit out of somebody and get out, especially with getting a little bit of extra speed. But I think the Drunken Master Monk could use, or the Warrior of Intoxication, I guess, could use more. I feel like there's more with this flavor, this kind of unpredictable, because the theme of the Drunken Technique fighting is to be using the like unnatural, almost clumsy sways of somebody intoxicated to like surprise foes, to surprise attack and attack from weird angles that nobody would normally go to, and just like you're swaying and making yourself unpredictable. And this does help kind of lend to that flavor, but I feel like it should be more. I don't know. It feels like it needs a little more, because the other monk subclasses, I mean, at this level, the Elements Monk is getting able to get an extra attack range and being able to change the damage type on their attacks. The Open Hand is able to knock people away and have multiple options. I feel like we just need multiple options here of some kind. It's okay though. It's all right. It does lend to the flavor of being able to weave in and out of people's range without anybody being able to really pin you down. But I feel like it needs just something else. And I'm being more critical of the Unearthed Arcana, because that's the purpose, right? That's kind of the purpose of playtest stuff, is to put it out there and get people's opinions on it. Whereas, I don't know. I feel I like having new stuff or updating old stuff. And this is kind of separate. This is a separate ramble that I'm gonna throw in here at this thing. But a lot of D&D YouTube, I gotta be honest, is really fucking downing or really depressing. Not even depressing, really. There's this freaking YouTuber that's a hat, or a wizard hat or something, and then all of their videos are the problem with witches, or the problem with this, the problem with X. And then there's a bunch of other D&D YouTubers that is freaking, this system is busted, this system has problems. There's so much like clickbaity negativity, I guess, is the only thing I can explain, with a lot of D&D YouTube. And I understand that the 5th edition is not a perfect system, and that Wizard of the Coast is certainly not a perfect company, or even a good company. I would say that so much questionable stuff with the OGL a while ago, and like not catching people, their artists using AI, which I think they've done better on recently. I don't think there's been anything going on with the recent art of the book, and it seems like they've been doing well on that part. And to be fair, I think that there was some drama that happened where somebody used AI to brush up their images with that and then didn't tell them, and nobody caught them, which is still on Wizards of the Coast for not doing their due diligence and taking a look at the art in their book more closely. But like D&D YouTube has I don't know what it is, but I see so much negativity on like stuff like the Martial Caster divide, or things that I view as negative, like I was saying, that there's that pointy hat D&D YouTuber that seems to have a problem with fucking everything, and makes videos on it. And if for some reason, if that guy, I don't know your name because I don't watch your videos, because I think they do not interest me to hear somebody being like, this is bad, let me fix it. It just doesn't really interest me that much, and it kind of turns me away from your videos, and I apologize. It's nothing personal. It's just I see so much of D&D YouTube that feels really negative all the time. Like something's always wrong. And like I was saying, I understand that 5th edition is not a perfect system. Wizards of the Coast is not a fucking perfect company. Makes mistakes all the fucking time. Gets themselves in trouble all the goddamn time. But like I just get tired of it. I really do. I really do get tired of people just constantly saying, because like the biggest thing I feels like everybody's missing is that this is just the guideline. All the rules in the game are just a guideline, right? They're not the rules. They're not like hard rules that you have to stick to. It encourages you to change things from your table. So what if like monster stat blocks aren't satisfying or fulfilling the niche? Just change them. Like, anyway, maybe I'll cut this whole rant out. Maybe I will cut this entire rant out. I don't think so. I'll keep it in. But I'm gonna get back on topic here, because I could literally make an entire video about that, and I apologize. I'll probably put a timestamp in there for somebody if you don't want to listen to me talk about that crap. Then I'll figure it out. Maybe I will cut it out. I don't know. The next feature anyway is Tipsy Sway, which is gain the following benefits: leap to your feet and redirect attack. When you have the prone condition, you can stand up spending 5 feet. And then whenever a creature misses you with an attack roll, you can spend 1 key point as a reaction to cause that attack to hit one creature of your choice other than the attacker, which you can see within 5 feet of yourself. It is a niche feature because it requires 2 creatures to be within an attack range of yourself. Granted, with other features we see later on, sorry, Jesus. With other features from this monk we see later on, it does really kind of lend to wanting to be in the thick of it. Like, really wanting to be in the thick of it. That's what I'm thinking. Drunken Technique maybe needs some kind of, like, defensive feature. I mean, all monks get a Step of the Wind where they can dodge. It's bonus action, right? But maybe, like, Drunken Master, if it's intended to be in the middle of things, like a bar fight, like constantly surrounded by foes and putting itself in between people, maybe we need an extra, like an AC bonus. Like maybe they can add their proficiency bonus to their AC or something like that, so people have a harder time hitting you, and you can you're swaying so much that people are having a difficult time hitting you. Maybe we need something like that, because otherwise that's kind of what my thoughts are leaning me to, that, because maybe the Drunken Master just needs like an extra defensive feature if it wants to be in the thick of as many enemies as possible. And we'll see what I mean later. But the next thing, the biggest change that they had is the Mystic Brews, which are magical beverages that the monk can make with their key, with their focus points. They're called focus points now. I keep forgetting that. And then they can drink the thing and have benefits. And I think that is fantastic. And I almost think that they could give us this at level 3 and just slowly give us more options of brews that we can make in one. Or we could keep that at level 6. Just give me more options. Cause the options we have right now is Cinnamon Dragon, Heavenly Spirit, and Refreshing Dip. Cinnamon Dragon gives you a quick breath attack that does some damage. Heavenly Spirit gains resistance to psychic and radiant damage, which is kind of a weird choice. I don't know why you would need these two specifically, but when you need it, you need it. And then Refreshing Dip is whenever you gain breaking hit points, you can add additional hit points equal to a roll of your martial arts die, which is pretty solid because you're probably gonna have somebody that can heal in your party, and you're gonna be wanting to be in the midst of everything. So you'll probably take, even with some extra defensive damage, though, you'll probably will take some extra shit. So it's good stuff, right? Good stuff. And the mystical brews are really cool, and they give us more here at level 11, which you gain more complex flavors, which is Blue Lightning and Drunkard's Luck. When you're ready to take a reaction that isn't making an opportunity attack or casting a spell, you can make one arm strike as part of that reaction. And then Drunkard's Luck is you gain a Heroic Inspiration if you don't already have it. In addition, you can also give yourself Heroic Inspiration when you roll initiative without it. I feel like they could just add these in there. I don't feel like they're that much stronger than the breath weapon in these two, that they would need to be unlocked at a later level, honestly. And then we can have like another 11th level feature. I honestly think they should tie in Blue Lightning into just the subclass itself, like all the way back here in Drunken Technique at level 3, because level 3 is also when you get deflect blows, right? I think that's when monks get deflect blows, is if you tie that in where you're just sweeping and you're using your reaction to deflect, but also like striking back and wanting to be in the thick of as many creatures as possible, then I feel like that does better to enhance the flavor of this unpredictable, sweeping, swerving, dodging and retaliating attack kind of monk that we're kind of looking for with the drunken master type of thematic that we see in media. But on to the last thing, which is Intoxicated Frenzy. And unfortunately, Intoxicated Frenzy is still not great. Which is you can make an overwhelming number of attacks against a group of enemies, and you use Fury Blows. You can make up to 3 additional unarmed strikes with it, up to a total of 6 unarmed strikes, provided that each strike targets a different creature this turn. So, making 6 attacks as a bonus action sounds amazing. Issue is that they all have to target separate people, and you can only surround yourself with so many characters, especially this late into the game. And this late into the game at level 17, you're probably going to be facing more like big bad creatures and stuff. So, and that's why I was saying that they kind of want this monk to be in the thick of it, right? They want this monk to go into a bar fight and be able to take down the entire bar by themselves while surrounded, and just nobody can like pin them down. Nobody can really get a good hit on them, and stuff, and they're making strikes on so many creatures at once. You're just a flurry of fists and swaying drunkenness. But this feature just isn't amazing because you have to target separate creatures, so it kind of does nothing most of the time. For the most part, it does pretty much nothing if you aren't completely surrounded by creatures fighting you. So it does nothing if you're fighting like a dragon, like a big set piece fight with some big monster at this level of the campaign, level 17. You're probably going to be like coming up on some big shit, or like the villain, you know, the one big guy, like the Lich King or Vecna or something. There's gonna be this big, like, single creature set piece fights. They might have some minions and stuff to help make the action economy balance it out, so they don't just get swamped by your party. But if you're doing big set piece fights like that, then Intoxicated Frenzy does nothing. And I hope they change it, because, But anyway, with all that D&D rant and stuff aside, onto the Oathbreaker. The Oathbreaker Paladin. What happens when you break your oaths that you make? You become an Oathbreaker, and you get these features that are inherently evil-ish, kind of. But as our good man from Baldur's Gate says, the Oathbreaker that appears if you play a paladin and break your oath. The Oathbreaker Paladin always says that an Oathbreaker, though, need not use their abilities just because you have broken your oath does not mean you can't continue using your abilities for good, right? It doesn't mean that it stops you from continuing to do what you think is just, even though you have been deemed an Oathbreaker and have been given these more dreadful kind of abilities. It doesn't mean you can't still use them for good. There can be many reasons why your paladin could have broken their oath, like whatever they made their oath to has betrayed them of some kind, and they are branded. They have the audacity to be branded the Oathbreaker. You know, you can do many things with it. But on to its actual features. First thing we get here is Conjure Undead. As a bonus action, you can spend your channel divinity and summon another undead equal to half your charisma modifier rounded up, minimum of one undead summoned. Each undead appears within an unoccupied space and has the zombie or skeleton stat block. And then each undead is an ally to you and your allies. It shares your initiative but takes its turn immediately after you and obeys verbal commands. No action needed. If you don't issue any, it takes a dodge action and uses its movement to avoid danger. Now, pretty fucking cool. You are a dread warrior of some kind, and undead come to you when called for aid. I think it's interesting. Are zombies and skeletons, especially at later levels, that helpful of stat blocks to have? Absolutely not. They do fuck all and have horrible chances to hit, because they're supposed to be low level monsters for your party to kill, when they're in the first couple levels of the game. And that's why you can throw so many at them, because skeletons and zombies are not that strong. But it's still cool. It's still interesting. They also get Dreadful Aspect, which is immediately after you cast Enlightened Smite, you can expend one use of your channel divinity to burst a magical menace, and you try to fear everybody within 30 feet of you. They have to take a wisdom saving throw. Not bad, especially because this just happens when you Divine Smite. You'll always have either you're fearing everybody or you're summoning a bunch of bodies on the field. Let the bodies hit the floor. Anyway, you also will get a bunch of Oathbreaker spells, which are Hellish Rebuke and Witch Bolt. Makes sense. Crown of Madness and Darkness, thematic as well. Fear and Summon Undead. We do like Summon Undead. I do appreciate us being able to get a summon spell. That is really cool. I always like that. We're also going to get Blight and Phantasmal Killer. Very thematic spells as well. And then Contagion and Steel Wind Strike. Steel Wind Strike is maybe a little bit of an odd choice, because that's a ranger spell, but it's like the coolest ranger spell possible, because it's kind of like you just kind of burst around the battlefield and slash the shit out of everybody for a good chunk of damage. So it's a cool spell. I really like it. Oh, sorry. Another yawn attack. I'm telling you, man, sometimes I just yawn when I have to read too much. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's from school, whenever I would pass out
when I would pass out reading the book. I don't know what it is, man. But at level 7, they also get Aura of Hate. These, by the way, this is a good, solid list. It's an okay list. It is a perfectly fine list. Very thematic with the Oathbreaker, which is a paladin. Of course, while I was saying that our good friend from Baldur's Gate 3 can tell us that an Oathbreaker need not use their dread abilities for evil. Don't get me wrong though, the Oathbreaker was originally in the DMG to be an evil subclass that they would use for an NPC. And then, everybody collectively chose I'll ignore that option, and then because being an Oathbreaker sounds cool, and sometimes it's cool to be dark and edgy. So they're taking Oathbreaker seriously to give it actual features and stuff. So we can move back to Aura of Hate. When you as well as any fiend, undead in your aura of protection that is an ally hits a creature with a melee attack, that attack deals extra necrotic damage equal to your charisma modifier. So I feel like it does work with your summoning a bunch of zombos. They're all going to be doing a little bit of extra damage if they manage to hit anything. But I feel like it could use something to actually benefit your allies, because it is an aura of some kind. Not that every aura has to benefit your allies. And there are things you can do, depending on your party. You could have people also use some other summon spells, like another person using summon undead, and this will work with. You can use your channel divinity to summon undead. You can use your actual summon undead spell. I mean, once you get it at 9th level, I guess. And then suddenly you have a little army of dead boys to come beat the fuck out of things around with you, which is cool. And then this would also work with the I think summon devil spell, summon fiend, something, because that creature type is also classified as a fiend. So if another party member also wanted to summon things, you could, if you wanted to make this character, it'd be interesting to make this character with somebody else that was going to take those kind of summon spells to make best use of the Aura of Hate. So everybody's doing more damage. It's interesting. But at 15th level, we get Supernatural Resilience, get resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage. Always good. 3 most common damage types in the entire game. Everything's going to be slashing, biting, kicking, beating the hell out of you. It's a solid feature. Maybe a little boring, I admit. Maybe just a smidge boring for this type of character. Just a little bit. Maybe just a little. But at the end of the day, it's good. Those are if you're gonna take resistances to anything in the game, taking these 3 is if you had the option, everybody would pick, because you're always taking bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage all the time, all the way into the end of the game. You're taking bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, probably, because even the big monsters like dragons and stuff still beat the shit out of you. Sometimes with their claws and their bites and their tail swipes. So, not bad. And then the final thing that all paladins get at level 20 when they get their super mode, you get Dreadlord. As a bonus action, you can imbue your aura of protection with Unholy Gloom, and you get Darkness and Fear. Magical darkness fulfills your aura of protection, and your allies inside of your aura of protection can see within it within this magical darkness. Whenever creature within the threatening condition starts its turn in your aura of protection, that creature takes 4d10 psychic damage and Shadow Strike. As a bonus action, you can make a melee spell attack, shaping the gloom exuding from you into a blade that targets one creature within your aura of protection, and takes 3d10 plus your charisma modifier. Certainly fucking cool. Your super mode is making everything around you dark as shit, running up on people, probably not having advantage, because a lot of A lot of creatures at this level are probably gonna have like true sight or some other means of sensing you. So, but you'll have a bonus action. You'll be protecting everybody. They're gonna take damage if they're afraid of you, which also might not happen because a lot of creatures at this level, level 20, probably gonna be immune to the frightened condition. Probably, but you never know. But yeah, that's everything. Oathbreaker's pretty cool. I really enjoy conjuring undead and getting summon undead and having that flow into the aura of hate. You can make your own little army, as you can make your own little army, and they're doing little extra bits of necrotic damage. Not pretty cool. I think it's interesting, and I would love to hear what everybody else thinks. But yeah, that is the end of the updated subclasses on Unearthed Arcana that came out just a bit ago. I'm sure I might make a little mini video on the Lorwyn player options as well, just to be thorough. But otherwise, I thank you for watching if you got this far and liked hearing me ramble, especially me going on multiple rambles about the freaking Cavalier and then suddenly talking about D&D YouTube. Whatnot. I don't know. Something about D&D YouTube, or when I see a lot, I just see there's just some channels that I try to watch the videos and I'm either not a fan of how they talk and present things. That's why I mostly watch a lot of lore and optimization shit for D&D. Is because a lot of other videos like that are just they just feel really negative. And I know that the D&D's not perfect or anything, and you as a content creator you gotta get that bag. If that's what's working, then you keep doing what's working. But also, I mean, come on, you can be a little more cheery. You can be a little less clickbaity with your stuff. A little less, not what I mean less clickbaity, because I'm trying to figure that out too, but I mean a little more. I don't know. I choose. I don't want to knock on anybody. I don't want to get myself into any drama, but because realistically, people can make whatever they want, and it's not hurting anybody. I like to be more positive. I like to be more positive. I like to focus on stuff that is cool, things that are cool. As much as when I get into it and I start picking out problems and stuff and wishing features were stronger, I like to think on the positive side of everything, because D&D is a big part of my life, and I really love it from the bottom of my heart. I think it's the best TTRPG system. Not that there aren't other systems that are probably more fleshed out. I mean, there's Pathfinder and all that stuff. Everybody's got their preferences. But I just really like D&D. I think D&D 5th edition is the perfect blend of having actual mechanics and character building, and not being too loose on the storytelling, and then also just providing a playground for people, because there's a ton of other systems that are more heavy on the roleplay narrative, roleplay of stuff and things like that. And I don't know what it is about systems that don't have any kind of don't have more mechanics whatnot, but they just rub me the wrong way. I want something to work with, because literally anything you can do in a system that's more based around narrative and narrative abilities, you can do that in D&D too, because all that's in the roleplay part, right? And I'm sure, I don't know, maybe I'm just talking, and you know what, I'm just yapping out of my ass. I'm sure I'm completely wrong and other whatnot. I don't know. In any case, I hope you didn't get too annoyed at me going off on rambles and talking about stuff, but maybe that's what you're here for, and I appreciate that, wanting to hear me yap about stuff. If you want to support me at all, I've got my Discord server in the description. You can come hang out. This channel isn't just for D&D stuff. I tend to play a lot of games and stuff too, as you might be able to tell. Which might not be helpful for me for figuring out what people want to follow me for, because I cover a lot of D&D. I'm gonna be covering a lot of D&D stuff, and then also, hey, I play games too. Maybe I'm kind of splitting the algorithm and trying to figure out what the fuck, what kind of fucking channel I am. But as I always say, I want to make the things I want to make. True variety here. I want to do gaming. I want to talk about D&D news. Might do some reactions. I'm definitely gonna stream the Game Awards, and have post that video on my channel. I'll be reacting to everything. But yeah. Oh, supporting me, right? Yeah. If you would like to support me monetarily in any way, I've also got my Ko-Fi in the description. You can send me a tip of however much you want, I guess. And then if you really want to help me out, I do have my one tier, my one tier on Ko-Fi, which is just $1 every month. If you really want to continue to support me and as I figure all this stuff out and figure out how to balance my voice acting stuff and also the channel and whatnot. I don't feel like at this moment I could offer anybody else but like $1 of entertainment every month. So, I mean, you can give me as much as you want, but I don't think I can give anybody more than $1 every month in terms of entertainment value. But who knows? Maybe once I get some people to help me out on the channel and edit and stuff like that, and maybe, hopefully I make enough money to be able to pay an editor. I would really like that. Maybe one day. Anyway, if you want to support me monetarily in other ways, I'm not too far away from Twitch affiliate from the recording of this video. If you want to go over and give me a follow, I would much appreciate it. It helps me try to live my dreams where I can stay at home and provide for the person that I love. In any case, with all that said and enough rambling from me today for this video, I hope you have a good time zone, and goodbye.